Mobs are storming the New York City mayor's mansion over alleged ties to Epstein.
That's right, we know about the mob. Now listen,
Wow.
we was with you, Zohran. We voted for you, Zohran. We advocated for you, Zohran.
I did not see this coming. The new Epstein drop reveals that New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's mom not just attended one of Ghislaine Maxwell's parties, but she had one thrown in her honor.
Really?
Mamdani's mom, Mira Nair, is a filmmaker, and this was an after party at Ghislaine Maxwell's house to celebrate her movie Amelia. We know this from a 2009 email that was sent from publicist Peggy Siegel directly to Jeffrey Epstein. And this party was in 2009, months after Jeffrey Epstein pled guilty and was convicted. So it's not like he was known in New York as just some successful businessman at this point. In the email, it revealed that Bill Clinton was at this party and Jeff Bezos before his glow-up.
Why are all of these people at the same after party in this one location? Why are they all there? And what a strange place to have an after party for anything.
Mamdani's mother attended a party at Ghislaine Maxwell's house with Bill Clinton and Jeff Bezos. It's all connected. It's all coming together. Oh, man.
When Zohran Mamdani's mom's name shows up in the Epstein files, and the collective left, the progressives, the propagandists and the liars in the media who have been using the Epstein files to try to destroy the Trump administration since he took office back in January, don't care.
Even before
it's a pretty good indication that they never really cared about what's actually in the files.
Exactly.
They just wanted something they could beat Trump up with. Wait a second, Patriot Dad. Are you telling me that Zohran Mamdani's mom's name is in the Epstein files? Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Zohran Mamdani's mother is a film director.
And they don't care how many of their people they take down while they try to take down Trump.
And yes, Mira Nair's name is showing up in the Epstein files. So I decided to take a screen recording of her route so you can actually see the document itself. And in this document, you'll see Peggy Siegel is emailing Jeffrey Epstein. And she says, I just left Ghislaine Maxwell's townhouse. After party for a film. Bill Clinton and Jeff Bezos and Gene Peruzzi and director Mira Nair are in attendance. This Mira Nair, Zohran Mamdani's mother, held an after party for a movie that she directed at Ghislaine Maxwell's townhouse back in 2009. And I'll remind you, 2009 is not that long after Jeffrey Epstein accepted a plea deal for the things that he was doing to...
And that's what's so interesting about this. It's not like there was time for Epstein to go out there and redeem himself or to do anything to clear his name. No, it's like these allegations just happened. And typically, after someone is caught doing something, nobody wants anything to do with them. Unless there's something else at play here. And the fact that all of these other high-profile people were in attendance at this event really makes you wonder, when people vote for a candidate like New York City's mayor who claims to be an outsider and claims to be this breath of fresh air, is that really true? And what's the other thing the people hounding the mayor in the middle of the night outside of the mayor's mansion are angry about? Look at the city right now. Look at all the garbage. It's everywhere. It's piling up because I guess there's no money to empty the garbage if you're gonna spend that money on things like city-run grocery stores or giving benefits to illegal immigrants or defying Trump and ICE.
We've reached the point of no return here in New York City. We now have garbage igloos.
Garbage igloos.
The garbage igloos are taking over.
Look at that.
Underneath this dirty
The trash
snow.
was there before the snow.
Everyone keeps asking, why is there still snow?
Meanwhile, look at who's in charge of running the jails in this place now.
Stanley will make history in this role as the first ever formerly incarcerated person to serve as commissioner
of the jails. A former convict is now running the prisons.
That achievement is not merely symbolic. It is a testament to the thought and leadership he will bring to every member of corrections staff and incarcerated New Yorkers underneath his purview. And as the former first deputy commissioner for the DOC and the executive vice president of the Fortune Society, that work has long been Stanley's purpose.
That's crazy.
When we provide support, when we center our collective work on hope instead of fear, when we see what is best in all of us, instead of judging people on the worst thing that they've ever done, when we see our commonality as opposed to our difference, we can achieve the unimaginable.
Which I guess means releasing people from jail as soon as possible.
Zohran Mamdani is appointing a former inmate to run New York City's prisons. Yeah. Stanley Richards, who served time for robbery in the late 80s, will be the new Department of Corrections Commissioner. And judging by Mamdani's introductory speech, it appears he'll be more focused on releasing prisoners than keeping dangerous criminals behind bars.
I knew it.
I will turn to Stanley as we work to build a city where justice is at the heart of our corrections system.
Which basically means justice cannot include locking people up in jail who deserve to be there.
And if you want a sneak peek of Stanley's plan, look no further than the organization he ran, the Fortune Society.
Oh, tell us.
In the last 2 years, it has pushed a number of progressive prison policies, including abolishing mandatory minimum sentences and establishing a higher minimum wage for incarcerated individuals.
A higher wage.
Okay, so Todd, you live here.
I guess they're having an affordability crisis living in the prison.
Right now?
I think you know the answer to that, Anita Vogel. Look, one of the things that individual mentioned, Stanley Roberts mentioned, endless confinement. He wants to put an end to endless confinement.
That means releasing
people. Let's be
people.
abundantly clear. Endless confinement should be a convict's future if they did something to warrant that. They should not be released into the public just because releasing makes the left feel good, because that individual, in all likelihood, has not been rehabilitated. And when it comes to the goal of rehabilitation, look, I think that's a laudable goal. I like the idea of somebody like Mr. Roberts in the prison system to help rehabilitate individuals. But I don't want him running the Department of Corrections, because the number one goal of the Department of Corrections needs to be deterrence. And I want somebody in there.
If your goal is to empty the jails, they are no longer a deterrent. If your goal is to decriminalize everything, you don't have a deterrent. Meanwhile, due to all the things the new mayor says he supports, like sanctuary city status and endless shelters for people who aren't even supposed to be here, New York City's virtually bankrupt, and it's time to do the one thing he ran on.
Mayor Zohran Mamdani making a budget announcement Wednesday at City Hall saying we have a $12 billion budget gap over 2 years.
Yes, we do.
The gross fiscal mismanagement has left New Yorkers with a bill the likes of which we have not seen in many, many years.
He called the problem the Adams budget crisis. The solution, tax the rich. Mamdani again calling for more taxes on any households pulling down more than $1 million in income here in New York City, saying if they paid an extra 2%, it would cover the hole in the budget left.
Now here's the thing, the new mayor, he can blame the city's budget problems on the former mayor, yes, but what did Mayor Eric Adams do that the new mayor would not have also done? Were he mayor during the asylum crisis? Are we supposed to believe that he would have turned away the buses of people coming here directly from the southern border who wanted a free hotel room in this city? Are we supposed to believe he would not have offered free hotel rooms to people who were going to be the next generation of New Yorkers, which is what we were told by the president at the time and the mayor at the time? Are we supposed to believe any of the stuff that happened, the taking over of soccer fields where kids used to play to build massive tent shelters? Are we supposed to just act like that wouldn't have happened and that we wouldn't have spent all of the money on it, which was a massive scam? But now it's time to raise taxes.
By the Adams administration. Mamdani going even deeper and blaming former Governor Cuomo for not giving the city its due in tax revenue.
These guys are all part of the problem.
The city is owed $8 billion for a 12-year period reaching back to 2010.
That means looking inward into savings and efficiencies. That also means
that would be good.
Raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations.
It's going to hurt jobs.
It means recalibrating the relationship with the state.
Weird.
As for the criticism that taxes will push businesses and the rich to flee to other lesser taxed states, the mayor says he's more concerned about working people leaving the city due to high costs.
So working people, why does a working person come to New York City? Well, they come here because there's an opportunity. They come here because there's a job. And if that job leaves, if people leave the state, take their business with them, that job just left. And working people won't have the same reason to come here. This is a potential big problem for the city, but there's something very strange going on, not just in New York City, but in our entire country. We've got mobs all over the place destroying things. We've got this massive uprising against the rule of law in every conceivable area of our society, at least when it comes to blue states. And what is that all about?
You've now probably heard political experts over and over refer to the fact that what we're witnessing is a color revolution. And they're right. And let me explain why. A color revolution is a communist globalist playbook to take over a country without tanks actually rolling down Main Street. It's how they flipped places like Serbia, Georgia, Ukraine, and they tried to flip a dozen others. The same exact playbook every single time. This is how they do it. 1, they demonize the leader of the people who they actually voted for. 2, they flood the country with chaos like riots, open borders, economic pain.
That's happening.
3, they weaponize the courts, the media, and big tech to finish him off. And 4, they install a puppet who sells the country out to China and the UN. And that's not theory, that's the manual. They opened it on us in the United States the day Donald Trump won in 2016.
Yeah.
And here's how they ran it on us step by step. From 2016 to 2020, they gave us the Russia collusion hoax, FBI spying, 2 fake impeachments, Antifa burning cities while CNN called it fiery but mostly peaceful.
And we're seeing the same thing again right now, 10 years later, in 2026. We got the files. Oh, release the files. Oh, we know Trump's in there. Even though we can't seem to find him, we know he must be in there. Even though these files were in the possession of a prior administration who tried to send President Trump to jail, did everything they could to get rid of him, but couldn't seem to leak him in the files somehow. Isn't that weird? You know, the other thing that people really wanted from Donald Trump, what was it? It was his tax return. Oh, Trump won't release his tax returns. Oh, we know he's hiding something. And finally, they leaked by a contractor who's now facing a serious sentence, and it was a nothing burger. But they can't seem to leak him in this other set of files, which you have to admit, watching this is very strange. They got his tax return, but why can't they find him in the files? He's not in them in the way that people want him to be.
While calling you a conspiracy theorist for noticing. From 2021 to 2024, we had Joe Biden opening the border on day 1. 12 million plus illegals, military-age men from China and Venezuela and all over the world, free flights, free hotels, free EBT cards, all on your dime. Cities collapse, crime explodes, schools and hospitals break. The goal, to make Americans feel like strangers in their own country. Then from 2021 to 2025, 91 felony charges, Mar-a-Lago raided, gag orders, mug shots. They didn't want to just beat Trump. They wanted to break him and every future patriot who dares to run. Look at what they did to Charlie Kirk.
All they had to do was leak Trump being in these files, and people would have wanted to disassociate themselves with him. All they had to do was show that he was a reprobate in a way that is truly offensive to most people. But they weren't able to do that. They tried everything else, and it didn't work.
That is a textbook color revolution. But on November 5th, 2024, the American people looked this Marxist coup dead in the eye and said, not today. 312 electoral votes, popular vote landslide, the biggest Hispanic and Black Republican turnout ever. We pulled off the greatest peaceful counter-revolution in world history. But the deep state isn't done. The same snakes who funded BLM riots, the Ukraine coup, and Arab Spring still sit in the FBI, CIA, big tech, and the universities. They'll try again in 2026 or in 2028. But now you know the game. Every time you see another mostly peaceful riot, sudden experts all using the same scripted words, a new crisis 2 weeks before an election, you're watching the Color Revolution playbook live on American soil.
That's crazy.
Never forget what they tried to do to us. Back mass deportations. If we have no border, we have no country. Protect every America First fighter willing to swing the axe on the swamp. Teach your kids the truth. Communism didn't die in 1991.
Yeah, and it's back in New York City right now. Now, look, the mayor's mother having a party with Epstein, that's weird. That's strange. That really makes you wonder who's behind the rise of New York City's first socialist mayor. What big money interests are behind this in a way that none of us even know about? These are huge questions people want answers to.
The border allowed millions of people to flood into this country. Among those millions are criminals, members of transnational criminal organizations, violent gangs, human drug and sex traffickers. You know, I wish the Democrats would be as upset about the deaths of Laken Riley and Rachel Morin and the many others who've been victimized by crimes committed by illegal immigrants. This is, you know, the resistance to ICE is pretty limited to blue states, to sanctuary cities, sanctuary states throughout America, where local officials are actually cooperating with ICE to get the criminals off the street. You're not having any problems. You're not having issues. So this is ginned up. These are activists that are trained.
Right. If we were supposed to believe, as we are, that every time you see a protest, these are average Americans, that every time you see people voting in somebody who might have very socialist views and radical ideas from America, that, oh, this is what the American people want, every time we're presented with something like that and told to just accept it, it's like the idea that this only happens in certain parts of the country that voted against President Trump to begin with is totally left out of the equation. The same stuff happening in Minnesota does not happen in Florida at all, which is weird because usually when Americans share a certain sense of urgency or a certain sense about a given conflict that everybody is offended by, it is unanimous the way that people react all across the country, but all of this stuff just happens in places that are most affected by a law and order crackdown.
In harm's way, and because they put themselves in harm's way, we had 2 tragic deaths in Minneapolis.
Joey mentioned the nuance, and I'm sure
there's not much nuance there.
But my question is on the timing of all this, because there are nuanced discussions happening within your caucus, within the Democrats. There's all this stuff is going on behind the scenes. Are you, in light of all that, as optimistic as House Speaker Johnson that this thing gets resolved by Tuesday? Because just reading the tea leaves from afar, it does not look like Tuesday is really realistic.
What on earth does the Democrat Party have to gain by working with the Republicans in any manner? Their goal should be to shut down the government for as long as they possibly can, because then they can make it look like the Republicans are screwing everything up during a midterm election, which is how they make you hate the guy you voted for and how they continue the revolution. And where does all that funding go? Let me tell you.
Protester we secretly recorded talks about an organization called Make the Road New York.
Okay.
I've never heard of this organization, but apparently they have a budget of $30 million.
I mean, if you're interested in an immigrants' rights organization, you should look up Make the Road New York.
Okay.
Make the Road New York.
Make the Road.
But who are you with?
I'm just with with the union.
Oh.
SEIU, Service Employees International.
We looked at the tax returns of Make the Road New York and found they're a registered 501c3 that file a 990, and they received $16 million in grants. We are in the wrong business, everyone. Can you imagine what Nick Shirley could do with $16 million?
That's a lot of money.
Can you imagine what James O'Keefe could do with $16 million?
That's so crazy.
The United States government is funding this.
Yep.
We're $36 trillion in debt, or are we $36 trillion in fraud?
That's a great question, because the government is supplying the same mobs that are out there trying to turn the country against the rest of us. It's a very frightening development once you realize that the whole reason we have government shutdowns is so that that can keep happening. It's because there is a political party out there that benefits from these schemes, from this fraud, and from these groups getting $16 million grants to try and keep the border wide open. What do you think about all this? Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.